enveloping him in contradictory needs and demands. In 1555, Charles was obliged, much against his will, to break up his enormous inheritance, with one half going to his son, Philip, based in his new capital of Madrid, and the other going to his brother, Ferdinand, based in Vienna. At this breakpoint, I follow the story of Ferdinand's descendants, although the Madrid relatives continue to intrude now and then, until their hideous implosion in 1700. While writing my last book, Germania, I would sometimes find myself in a sort of trance of anxiety, knowing that it was based on a sleight of hand. With a few self-indulgent exceptions, I kept its geographical focus inside the boundaries of the current Federal Republic of Germany. This was necessary for a coherent narrative, but historically ridiculous. Indeed, the structure humiliatingly mocked my main point, that Germany was a very recent creation, and only a hacked-out part of the chaos of small and medium feudal states which had covered much of Europe. These hundreds of squabbling jurisdictions existed under the protective framework of the Holy Roman Emperors, who ruled, with admittedly only sputtering success, for a millennium. For the last 350 years of the empire's existence, the emperor was almost always the senior member of the Habsburg family. He had this role because he personally ruled immense tracts of land, indeed at different times, owning parts or all of 19 modern European countries. In alphabetical order, Austria, Belgium, Croatia, the Czech Republic, France, Germany, Hungary, Italy, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Poland, Romania, Serbia, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, Switzerland, and Ukraine. Plus, briefly, the entire Spanish Overseas Empire. The family also came to own Portugal and its empire, as well as, more permanently, Spain and its empire, through Charles V's son, Philip. This meant that he was unique in having a large enough personal, financial, and military base to be plausible as emperor. But it also meant that he was often distracted, responsible for great blocks of territory inside the Holy Roman Empire, such as modern Austria and the Czech Republic, but also for unrelated places such as Croatia, say, and Mexico. This distraction, it can be argued, was the key motor for Europe's political history. The Habsburg story, of Europe's most persistent and powerful dynastic family ruling the world of Germania from bases which were in fact well outside the modern state of Germany, was just too complex to be alluded to except in passing in the earlier book. The Habsburgs' influence across Europe was overwhelming, but often the great events of the continent's history were generated as much by their uselessness or apparent prostration as by any actual family initiative. Indeed, it is quite striking how baffled or inadequate many of the emperors were, and yet an almost uncountable heap of would-be carnivorous rivals ended up in the dustbin, while the Habsburgs just kept plodding along. Through unwarranted luck, short bursts of vigor, and events often way outside their control, they held on until their defeat by Napoleon. Moving fast, they then cunningly switched the title of emperor, so it referred to what could now be called the Habsburg Empire, meaning just the family's personal holdings, itself still the second largest European state after Russia. They kept going for a further, rather battered century, until final catastrophe as one of the defeated Central Powers in the First World War. The aftershocks from the, in many ways, accidental end of this accidental empire continue to the present. I allude to some of these in the text, but effectively the narrative ends in 1918, as the different parts of the empire go their own ways. This is a less sunny book than Germania. Visiting cities in the Rhineland, say, it is clear that however damaged they were in the 20th century, both physically